Hey, welcome back. So, what we're going to do in this episode is we are going to set up a store, and then I'm going to show you a paper doll, and I've made a new male base for a new male character. I've gone ahead and created the character already, but I want to show you how to set up a store, and then how to set up an item that uses a specific paper doll, and set up and then we'll set up the item with the paper doll. If we get time, then what I'll do is I'll set up the projectile, and we will show you how that all works. So I'm going to switch over here. And what you can see here is I'll go back to the client and editor, resources, then in resources, entities. And then you can see here I've got my male base, which I'll open up. Zoom in on that. There's the down, left, right, up for my male woad warrior. And he's all just in brown garb. Easy to add a paper doll to that, sorry. And then it's hard to see here because of the black background, so I'm going to zoom in. I hope you can see this. My machine has it set to render PNGs as a black background, but you can see the bow in all these directions. So those are all drawn over top, as I showed in another episode, in a sprite as a layer, and then exported. And they've been sized according to the male character. So that doesn't live there. Cut up one layer, and we come down here to paper dolls, still in resources, edit, paste. There we are. Now we're going to close this. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go view, and I'm going to go to extra large icons, and then I'm just going to scroll down here, and hopefully you can see here a little better that bow layout. Okay, going back to my medium icons again, and we're going to go back up here, close this off, and we're going to go into the editor now. So now I'm in the editor, and what I need to do, I've already set up the Woad Warrior character just as an adventurer class, and I've created that adventure as I said. But now what we need to do is we need to set up a new item. We're going to go New, Item Editor, and we're going to create a new item. New item. We're going to drop it into the Weapons folder, and we're going to call it Primitive Bow. Simple, right? It is equipment. Not worried about the rarity. A simple bow made from a poplar tree. There we go. Poplar tree and some flax string. Perfect. Can drop, can't bank, can trade, can't guild bank, can bag, can sell. Chance to drop on death, 25%. We're going to go over to here, price. We're going to make it 2 because I make everything 2. It doesn't get an animation because it is a bow, but we are going to give it a picture, and we're just going to use a stock one that came with the intersect engine. So we're just going to go with bow 1, nice simple bow. Alright, no animation, no cooldown info. Inventory stack, it's not stackable. We're going to come down here, equipment slot, weapon. And pardon me if you hear my dog barking in the background. She loves to bark at the neighbors. I don't know why. We have 10 acres, they have 10 acres, and she still barks at them. I don't know. Doesn't give me any bonuses. Base damage, need to assign that base damage, remember. And we're going to give it 5. Alright, and it is a two-handed weapon because you need the bow and the arrow. Alright, there is no tool type. Oh, I just changed something. Scaling stat, it's just going to be attack. Physical damage, that's fine. And it is going to use a projectile, but we'll have to come back to give it that. And then attack animation, we don't give it. We're not giving it any. We're just going to use that frame 3. When I made my frame 3, I made it so that the arm kind of comes in front. So whatever you paper doll to it, it'll kind of look like it's attacking. It would be nice later on to maybe do an animation that sits perfectly over the arm and does a swing or something. I don't know. I'll play around with different things, but for now, this will work. It's going to let me get more content out there and still be able to see if the actions happen properly when you're testing. So, I have no scaling. I don't have any of that. None of that. None of that. Equipment animation, none. Bonus effect, none. Effect amount, male paper doll. We are going to give it down here. This is where you assign that paper doll that I made. I don't see it though. I think it's probably because I had the editor open, so we're gonna hit save. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go into the item editor again. I'm just saving some time here. I'm adding a new item. New item. Oh wait, no, cancel. Okay. Game editor. Oh yeah, no, sorry, item editor. So this is important. You need to still make an item to be able to sell it in stores and buy it or whatever. I think, wait. Yeah, you do, yeah. New item. We're just gonna call this simple arrow. And we are gonna go, that's fine, we'll put that in weapons. Again, and type it is, we're just going to, I think we're just going to leave it as that. It might be consumable, but I don't think so. I think we're tying it to the other. Picture, we're going to go arrow 1. That's fine. We're just using a stock picture. Price is 1. Can drop, can't bank, can trade, can bank, can bag. Stackable, sure. And we're just going to fit 12. And that's fine. Simple, poplar arrow. Adorned with bird feathers and a iron, and a steel point. Good enough. I don't know if we really need all that in there, but I just in the habit of giving good descriptions, so you know what you're getting. It helps, like if you have an ornate arrow, it might be adorned with peacock feathers and have a chromium steel tip or whatever, right? Or the descriptions generally should be better for the better quality, more damage dealing items, just as a rule of thumb. Save. All right, so now we've saved out those 2 items. Now the next step is I have to save them out, file, exit. I'm also going to exit the server because I believe that before that paper doll is available to me, I needed to reboot both or restart both. But even if it was just the editor, if I restart the server, I know I'm good. All right, we're going to minimize that. All right, we're back in the editor. Now we're going to go back into the item editor. And then we're going to go back into the bow. Simple primitive bow. And I believe that we needed to edit the male paper doll because it wasn't showing up. Male paper doll. Male bow, there it is. And you can't really see it, but I can see the bow in there, so there definitely is the bow in there. Alright, I don't have a paper doll for the female character. I do have a female character, and she's got a sickle and skinning knife, a few other tools. I'm working that way, but I figured I would get the male character built and then equip him with the bow, just so you can see a little bit of progress. I'll be showing you more of this in my devlog if you care to tune into that. I know these are more just tutorials, but once I finish this tutorial section here, I just have a couple more to do. Then what I want to do is jump into a devlog and just start making my game and going over it all and just do some short updates on it, like every few days or whatever as I'm working through it. So yeah, that's my plan anyway. But I wanted to get this tutorial out for the community first. So once this is out there, then I'm going to start working on that. Anyway, we have that made, and so now what we want to do is we need to create a projectile to go with that. So I've created the arrow. That's the item to be bought and sold, and it'll be linked to the projectile. However, you need to have the projectile for the combat to actually work. Now, a couple years ago when I dropped, this is where I stopped because I couldn't get the projectile thing to work properly. It kind of covered, there's a couple of tutorials in the forums, and they kind of sort of covered it, but they didn't really show me this aspect. So you create your firing weapon, you create your item, your ammunition that you buy, sell, trade, whatever, but you also need to have your projectile. So I'm going to open up the projectile, and I'm going to go new projectile, and we're going to call this arrow 1. Alright, and it's fine. I don't have a folder. Now, it's important that you change this from 1, or you don't really shoot. So, same with the spawn delay. So, spawn delay, I'm going to make 100 milliseconds. You can make it more, so you can't fire as often. I'll go 250 milliseconds. That way, it's kind of will be like, oh yeah, I got to load and shoot. Speed, 200 milliseconds. That's fine. I want you to be able to see the animation go across the screen. Actually, I'm going to slow that down. I'm going to make it 100 milliseconds to start. And you'll see, because I'll tweak that as we test it. Quantity 1, range. Okay, it's important to make the range more. So this is by blockout unit or tile unit. And you can kind of see here on my map, 1 tile unit. So you can kind of figure out how far you want it to go. So a simple primitive bow made out of poplar, it's probably not going to lob the simple arrow that far. Like, honestly, I would prefer if the range was associated with the gun, rather the bow, rather than the projectile. I understand dynamic-wise and code-wise and database-wise why it isn't. So not a big deal. You just make different arrow types for different bows and whatever. So, or different projectiles for different bows. So anyway, I could make identical projectiles, and I could actually assign them to different items and stuff. So anyway, we're going to call this arrow 1, and we're going to give this it, and the quality is going to be 1 of them. So spawn delay, range. So I was talking about the range. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I'm going to do that not in the house. I'm going to do that like this guy in between the house. So let's see. So he's there. So sorry, I'm going to show you this other thing. Where do you start it from? The S is the center of the character. So I'm going to actually start it right there. And for the projectile system, I believe I think it's assuming the character is pointing up. We'll see in a minute when we do this. That's easy enough to change and edit, but I believe that is pointing up. Over here, ignore collisions with map blocks, active resource. Ignore these two, because I don't want it stuck on, I don't want it breaking on trees or bushes or whatever. I don't know what the pierce target really does. I haven't played around with it, so I'm going to leave it off. Item requires This one requires, this is where primitive bow. All right, we're on primitive bow, and that's what it's going to require. I'm not assigning a spell to it. However, if you were to make a fire arrow or a ice arrow or something, you can have a spell associated with it. Then when it hits the target, it's going to fire off that spell. And I haven't done that yet, and we will cover spells later in another tutorial. We just aren't there yet. So, and that might actually be a good way to do a spell. Assign it to an arrow and show you that as a test. Anyway, knockback 0. Arrow doesn't have enough force to knock anyone back. Now, if this was a modern game, and it was like you're making a handgun. You know, you set your knockback to 0, but then you make a shotgun. Well, you might want to set your knockback to 1 or 2, and then it's gonna smack that guy back, and you know, just kind of neat. Anyway, I don't have any subfolders. Arrow 1, primitive bow, amount, and again, this is going to be fired from. No, so I got that wrong. It's not a primitive bow. Ammo requirements is simple arrow, which is why you need to also create the simple arrow. So it requires a simple arrow, and it shoots 1. All right. And animation, I'm going to assign an animation because this is the animation that as a projectile crosses the screen that it creates. So the animation I'm going to do here, I'm going to have to make a new one. So I'm going to go save. Now I go into the game editor, and I go, I just want to double check the item editor before I do the animation. Hold on a second, I just want to make sure, because I've only done this a couple of times, and I want to make sure I've got it right. Primitive bow, no animation, cooldown, equipment. Weapon. I feel like I'm missing something here. I feel like I'm missing tying the bow to the there it goes. No, that's animation. Attack animation, none. Oh, there we go, projectile. So you need to choose your projectile in here. I knew I was missing it. There we go. So now I've assigned arrow 1 as the projectile. Save. So you see how that can be a bit confusing? So you've got to make an arrow, you got to make a bow, you got to make an arrow, and you got to make the projectile that represents the arrow in the actual combat. Then you have to link the projectile to the arrow, and you need to link for the items in the inventory and stuff, but you also need to link the projectile to the bow for the actual attack cycle and what it does. So that's where it can get tricky. If you don't do all of those, you're missing something and it's not going to work. But feel free to use this as a reference, rewind it, watch it again. It's not a bad idea to watch it a couple of times and then practice it out just to get it right, because it can be tricky. Just like setting up quests in the right order and where the dialogue comes in and how the interaction happens in the task sequence. Just like that can be a little bit tricky, so can the projectile editor. So feel free to reference this over and over again. And if you like this video and if I've helped you at all figure this out, please give me a like and subscribe. That would be awesome. All right, game editor, we're back in here now. And now what we're going to do is we've set up the projectile, we've set up the items. What we need to do is set up a new item editor, new item, and we're just simply going to call this silver piece. All right, that's fine. Type none, rarity none, a fine stamped silver coin. All right, can drop can bank, can trade, no, can bank guild, can bank. Well, maybe you should be able to trade. Yeah, you got to be able to trade, I think, in order to trade with other player characters. Can bag, you can't sell it though. Okay. Drop on death. We're gonna say 100% drop on death. You lose all your money if you die. Just because I'm a big meanie. Alright, picture. I don't know, do we have a coin in here? I don't actually know if we have a coin. Coins. Perfect. There we go. Alright, we got coins. Fine. And it is stackable, and yeah, you can stack a whole bunch. Let's give it 1,000 to a stack. No, we're just going to go 100 to a stack. Bank stack. That one can be 100, 1,000. Perfect. Because banks have a lot more. Alright, animation none, price none. I'm not even sure if I need to do this. I think I do, but anyway, I might be totally wrong on this, so yeah, save. Anyway, I think that I needed to do that because I think when you set up a store, you need to be able to trade money and stuff. So, all right, now we're gonna go into Now what I want to do is go into to the map. Quickly, I'm just going to save the map. Tributes. I'm going to do an item spawn here. And what I'm going to do is go down to silver piece. Right here. Quantity 100. Alright, perfect. Okay, spawn, item spawn, bang. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we'll save that map. Yes. Now we're going to come back to the game editor, and we are going to go down here, like I told you, to the. What time are we looking? We're at 22 minutes. You know what? Maybe what we're just going to do is test that out. I'm also going to do an item spawn with. Let's go to a primitive bow, and we're going to drop that, let's say here. Oh, we don't want 100. 1. Primitive bow of 1. Then we're going to come and we're going to do another item spawn, and we're going to go simple arrows. 12 of them. Okay. Primitive bow, simple arrows, 100 coins. Okay, perfect. We're going to save that map. We're going to minimize the editor just so it doesn't confuse you. We're going to run the client. Now I'm just going to go to my settings, video, change that. Perfect. Just a little bigger on the screen for you to see what's going on here. Okay, so there's my big Celt. Hi, how you doing? I'm a big Celt. We're going to come over here. And I got my bow, 12 arrows, and of course my cowhide, but we'll loot all. Okay, we'll loot all. So now we're going to go into my inventory, and we're going to see if my paper doll works. Let's just bring me up here. Let's bring me, sure. And we're going to go right click, equip primitive bow. Okay, don't we respawn. But as you can see, my dude has a primitive bow in his hand as he walks around. It's pretty small, but hopefully you can see that on the screen. Now what we're going to try and do here is try and shoot our I'm down to 6 arrows in my inventory, so I am shooting. Alright, so delete all again. Alright, so what I've got going on, we're going to bring up the editor again, is for whatever reason, I'm not seeing the animation play. So game editor, projectile editor. Okay, so projectile 1, animation none. That's why I didn't assign an animation. So we're going to go here. And oh, and I only have the range set to 1, so we need to up that too. So we're going to go 4. We talked about it before, and I guess I never did set it. So we're going to go 4 on that. I'm going to give a knockback just because I want to see what it does. So animation, I need to create a new one, so we're going to go save. That's what I didn't do. So game editor, animation editor. Let's go in here, new animation, and we are going to, we're going to call this arrow 1. I don't know what sounds we have available. Let's try, sure, we'll try click 4. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but we're going to try it. Alright, so now we're going to go folder, don't need to go into a folder, graphic. We are going to use trying to remember what I called it now. Sure, I'll see it here. Fire arrow, right, there we go. I called it fire arrow. So there we go, we got a fire arrow. And it was 1 vertical frame, but I believe it was 4 horizontal frames in that graphic. And not worried about that. Light editor's fine. Actually, we're going to give it a light. No, we're just going to leave it alone. I don't want to play right now. Well, sure. We'll give it that light. 255 size, sure. We'll give it 1. Give it 5. I don't know if that's going to do anything. I played around with lights in the other video and stuff, but I haven't really given them much time because I'm just working in a purely daytime scenario for now. I'll get into nighttime ones later, probably when I do interiors. But frame duration, milliseconds. Let's make it go for 150 milliseconds. We'll just loop that out. Alright. Don't need to worry about that. Now this is the layer below the target. So that's fine. So when it hits the target, it'll look like it disappears. Then it's also going to undergo any canopy and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. Do I need to render it above the player? I don't think I need to worry about it. I don't know if it rotates or not. I'm just going to leave it at that and we'll give it a try. Save. Alright. Save. Now we're going to go back into the client and we are going to, where am I? Alright. Let's go shoot that deer. Here, buck. Of course, it doesn't help under the tree. F11. Nope. He offed me. He offed me. It's okay. We're going to walk down here. Loot all. Right click. Equip primitive bow. Alright, I got lots of arrows though. F11. Maybe we'll go shoot the cow instead. Cow's probably going to be a little easier to take. Oh, the buck's wounded though. I'm not seeing. I'm still not seeing my animation. So one of two things going on here. Let me go back to my editor. Game editor. Oh, because I created the animation, but again, I have to assign it. Save. Auto rotate image, sure. Save. Alright. Save the map. Try that again. Make sure I got arrows. I'm sure I do. Yeah. So, an orc. Let's go shoot this orc. So somehow I've doubled up on my animation though. But at the 4 range it is missing. Alright, let's see why. Back to the editor. Minimize this editor. So I'm pretty sure resources, animations, fire arrow. Let's just open that up and look. So it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames. So I told it was 4 frames, so that's going to kind of mess things up again. So what I need to do, come in here, game editor, animation editor, and this is why it's important to get these right. So see graphic horizontal frames here? I told it was 4 and 1 vertical frame. Well, I was right about vertical frame count, but I was wrong about this. It's 7, and this also should match as 7. Save. Save the map. Minimize. Let's just see. There we go, you see. However, I don't like where it's coming from. So what I'm going to do is go back into the editor. And now here's where you tweak stuff. So remember that projectile editor? We have this, where to come from. I'm going to make it come from here. Undo that one. Save. Save. And let's see if that fixes it. That's a lot better now. However, it's still not coming from my my right hand. It's coming from my... Oh, it's not coming from my left hand, it's coming from my right hand. I have the bow on the right, because, yeah, okay. So, I should be able to fix that in the editor. What I should have done, and I will probably fix this, is put the bow in the other hand in the animation. Actually, that's what I'm going to do. Save. Exit. Then I'm simply going to come into, oh, my mouse will stay on the page, intersect engine, editor and client, resources, entities. I'm going to find my male base here, and all I'm going to do is go, oh, maybe I can't do it here. I thought I might be able to just flip on horizontal, but it's a rotate. Nope. Oh, wait, maybe. Rotate left. Rotate left again. So down, 3rd frame. Maybe. Now we're going to go up 1. We're going to go into resource, paper dolls. Right click, rotate left, right click, rotate left. Exit. We're going to go back in to the editor. Save the map. Minimize the editor. Probably have to log out. Exit. This may not even work. I'm just trying. I'm actually just using up some time right here that I probably shouldn't be. But if this works, it's a simple fix if you make the same mistake. Not enough simple arrows, so. Okay. And now it lines up with the bow. So my little flip trick kind of worked. All right. So there you have it. What I should do, though, just to see that better, is game editor, projectile editor, and speed. I'm going to drop that down to 25. Save. Save the map. Let's just see if that makes a difference. Doesn't seem to. Oh, I killed it. All right. Oh, I am out of arrows again. Anyways, I think that's where we're going to leave this one. And then, so we've got everything set and prepped for the next one, where what we'll do is we will jump in and we will quickly set up a store. It should be a pretty short one, because what we're going to do is we're just going to sell arrows and maybe a bow or something. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.